Awesome. Well, it's a pleasure to welcome to the show. It's Redbeard Lacrosse. Although now that I'm looking at you, Travis, it's red goatee Lacrosse. Do we have to change up that handle?
A couple people have already commented on it at my men's league, and just something I wanted to change up a little bit right after New Year's, and it's kind of been sticking. So
yeah, well, you look good. You look good, my man. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Very excited to be here.
Yeah, I'd love to hear how you got started with lacrosse, and more specifically, like the first time you jumped into goal, if you remember.
Yeah, I'm a listener, so like I saw your post about the 3 reasons, and one of which was, the team needed one, and some of the guys that I played roller hockey with in the fall and the winter knew that I was a goalie, and they're like, "Oh, Travis knows how to stop a puck. He can stop a ball. It shouldn't be too hard." I got thrown in, ended up scoring on myself in the first game. The ball.
Pull, trying to.
No, outlet? I made the save, dropped to my feet, went to clamp it, and I raked it back, kind of did like the clamp and rake, and I ended up raking the ball between my legs because it was just hard packed dirt, and rolled between my legs and in the goal. And I remember hearing parents and kind of giving them like my first like chirp ever of like, "That's not funny," or something stupid like that, and then just kind of continued on with the game. But yeah, that was my first time ever in goal.
Nice, man. Nice. What do you love most about lacrosse goalie?
You could be the difference. You can really be the difference when in a game. That pressure is a lot of fun. I love breakaways. Being, going from the hockey to field lacrosse and then back into like almost like a hockey lacrosse aspect mesh. Breakaways are fun. Anytime there's a shootout, I'm always for it. And I love outlets. So like being able to be the restart. So you're stopping their pressure and then restarting the offense. Apples and assists are my bread and butter. I love it. I love being able to throw, and everybody looks at me with like 45 pounds of gear on going, how is he able to like just send this thing on a rope across the floor? But it gets there, and it's just a lot of fun, just having fun with it. So
love it, man. Love it. So how did you, I guess, when did box first enter for you? Cause you played both field and box goalie. Right away. Were you playing box goalie as well as field, or was it kind of one after the other?
No. So it was one after the other. So, field lacrosse, went to school, came home, and then I knew I still wanted to played some indoor, played some co-ed leagues, wasn't really working out. I mean, there wasn't a lot in New Jersey to begin with, especially in my area. It's not huge. It's big now, then no way. But I wanted to play, and then there was a local rink, and I knew the guy from coaching and saying, "Hey, we're going to put a box league in. If you buy the gear, you play for free." And I'm like, "All right, this is easy." Didn't realize that it was a couple grand investment, but
yeah, right.
It was what it was, and it paid for itself after a few seasons. But we got into it, and I just fell in love with it. I got the legs, got the pants, got the uppers, and just started finding leagues. And then I've met guys from Philadelphia that played in the Philadelphia Box Lacrosse Association, which has been around since 1986, and asked me to play in the summer and like come down, play with us. And it's been kind of, history ever since. It's taken me some pretty neat places from starting back in 2012 until now. So it's pretty nice.
That's awesome. I played some box goalie, but like the way we did it, because our Cal lacrosse team would play box, just to kind of get more experience off season. And we didn't have any of the pads. So they would just I would just wear the normal field setup and like even set up like a field goalie, just expecting all the shots to go low. And I just got tore up. Box, like there's the number of shots you see is way more. And so I was like, I would rather just be a field player. And a lot of people, when they ask me that, like, "Hey, do you think box is good for your field game?" I go based on my experience. And I'm like, I thought I got more value just being in the field and working on my stick skills and running around. What about for you? How would you answer that question?
So, I mean, I get it a lot, especially when coaching and they find out that I play, and the biggest thing that I find and the biggest advantage that I took from it was actually sitting on shots. And what I mean by that, and I'm sure you understand what that means, but just waiting, and then let them kind of throw themselves out of position. So, guys will go. So, you know, what I teach kids is, you know, field guys like to fake north-south. So fake high, shoot low, fake low, shoot high. Box is a lot of east-west.
Oh,
Fake, you know, fake east, shoot west, fake west, shoot east. Exactly.
Yeah.
Just to try to move you off your angle, move you off your post, and just kind of give yourself the easy goal. So I force myself just to sit on it. Just sit on the shot, sit on the fake, sit on the fake. Okay, respect the first one. See where his body position is. Look where the shoulders are. Look where like his hand is kind of loading. If it looks like he's just going to go for another fake, if his hand's too far out, he's going to go for another fake. If it's back here, he might go for the shot. So once I see that kind of head kind of cocked back and ready to shoot, that's when I kind of make my move or explode or just kind of take up that angle. So that aspect of it, I've learned a lot from, and even like challenging outside shots, because I know I'm not, you know, essentially going to get hurt per se.
Right.
There are some spots, but like challenging that shot, taking a step out and really forcing them to shoot around you, or timing that step when getting out. Because I still step on a 45 and it still kind of gets me in trouble sometimes playing on a pro 4x4 9. And there is spots to hit, and guys do hit them, but taking a big step out and challenging that shot and just seeing where it goes. So like if we're in a warm up or whatever, I'll just stand at the top of the crease and just say, okay, try to shoot around me, and I won't move, and I'll let them. And 9 times out of 10, they'll just hit off the legs, hit off the stick, arm, elbow, shoulder cap, side of the helmet, whatever it is. But just to feel, you know, like I'm in my position, I know where I am in my arc. Yeah, that's kind of like the biggest thing for me that I've found.
I agree with that 100%. There's certainly like, I mean, there's 2 things for me. One, just seeing the number of shots. I think that, you know, a lot of young goalies need to see more shots. And I think even if you got the gear on, the box gear, just the fact that you're seeing shots and you're seeing how shooters shoot at different angles and different positions. And I had one goalie on, I think it might've been Blaze, who was just like, there's like almost an infinite number of ways that like lacrosse shooters can shoot. When you think about the stick angle of release and you think about just everything going on, but the more reps you get, the more you can be like, oh, I've seen this shot before. It's a rollback, low to low. You know, you just get more familiar with the shot. So I think that helps quite a bit when you go over to the field game. Would you agree with that?
100%. And another thing is screens. Working on screens. You don't see too many of it because guys want to sweep, get their hands free. In box, you're hoping, you know, you could even just see the thing past the guy's head, because a good shooter will hitch and then try to shoot around a shoulder, shoot over their shoulder. Just you know, their teammate will come in, set a double pick, and now you got 3 guys in front of you, and you don't know, like, you know, Blaze is saying, you don't know if it's coming over the top. You don't know if it's coming around their shoulder. You don't know if they're trying to do a worm burner around their legs or whatnot. So you're just kind of guessing. And again, like sitting on that and then just seeing it last minute and then reacting.
Yeah.
So that's been a lot of fun and a lot of, you know, really challenging to like work on and try to like force myself to get to.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that concept of sitting on the shot. I think that a lot of goalies are just so like ready to go. And then the shot comes and, oh, I got to go. You know, and they're not necessarily like seeing where it's going and then, you know, reacting to it. And yeah, I mean, I think that the more patience you can have, the better you're going to be, but you got to have explosion as well. So it's a fine line.
For sure.
Do you ever have you ever gotten the 2 confused? And what I mean by that is, so like if there's a shot to your off stick shoulder in box, like the move is kind of just like stick your shoulder up, right? In field, it's get your top hand over. Have you ever I mean, I don't know. I've ever been playing field and gotten a shot and made kind of like a box save.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah, most definitely. So yeah, going like when I haven't been in a field cage in, probably going on 3 years now, just because of pandemic and just because of just availability. But when I was going kind of back and forth, exactly that. Just off stick side would end up just kind of being this big shoulder. I mean, you watch Blaze play, and he does a lot of that in cage anyway. He uses his frame. I mean, I'm a wider dude as is, so like I used it to my advantage at times, but and not even thinking, you know, just very instinctual muscle memory of just kind of just shrugging, you know, coming up just wings. And doing that, yeah, I've taken a few off the bicep, off the shoulder, or just kind of leaning in, and putting my chest in the way, knowing that like I have that angle and I'm confident in that. But you suffer for a little bit, but you still make the save. So
Yeah.
it's like, again, catch 22 and the full like goalie life right there. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I was going to ask you if you wear any additional, like being a box goalie, when you go over to the field game, do you wear any additional padding or do you wear the regular field setup, just chest protector, cup, gloves?
No, I mean, I think the only thing that I would change, I mean, just I had an old Harrow chest and still wear it, Super Freak gloves. The only thing that I did change was actually my jock. I went from just a traditional, cup to a hockey cup.
Yeah.
You get a little bit more lower abdomen coverage. I mean, and and you just get a little more protection. And the mobility is exactly the same. So I mean, like you have like the toolbox that's made by Warrior. 100% recommend that to any field goalie, or if you want to get into something a little more protective that's not going to be restricting, go for it. Just try it. There's a bunch of affordable options, and just try it just to see.
Yeah, it gives you a lot more confidence, huh?
100%.
Yeah, because not only because I remember when I first started, I used just a bike or whatever it is, like regular cups, right? And
yeah,
kind
the white one with the thick edge on it.
Yeah, thick edge on it. You got the two grundle straps. I don't know if that's the technical term, but that's what we call it. That would like break. Anyway, so but it was kind of like rounded. So like even if you got hit, unless it was like a direct hit, but if you got like a glancing blow, it would always hit you on the inner thigh because like it would just like that and wouldn't feel that good.
No.
But now they've got, there's a lot of really good options, and that ice hockey cup, highly recommend. So, well, cool, man. And then, I haven't jumped in the field and I mean, I'm going to say it's been a long time. My wife and I live in Argentina now. So like,
I got to hook you up with my buddy, Danny, cause he's the one that, organizes or starting to organize the Argentinian national team.
Oh, you do? Yeah, I would love that.
So I gotta hook you up with him and just kind of get that connection going for you.
All right, man. That'd be awesome. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then you also string heads and do it pretty well, man. I follow you on Instagram. I know a lot of people listening probably do. And there's certain head stringers out there that whenever they post something, I'm like, all right, like here's the next series, here's the next installment. And you're definitely one of them. So, when did you start stringing up heads?
Pretty much freshman year of high school, 13. And it kind of came down to, I wanted to have a head strung my way. Like I had like a Lax Unlimited, pro strung thing. And it had 17 traditional drop sidewall. And I was like, I really want the monster mesh. I want, everyone's using it. I wanted that. And, it pretty much simply was, okay, well, we're not paying for $100, string job. So why don't you just learn, and you learn and then you can do whatever you want with it when you want with it. And so I taught myself and it kind of just blew up from there. I was a freshman stringing my varsity, starters sticks. And then sophomore year doing the same thing, junior year doing the same thing. And all of a sudden it kind of turned into me stringing half of the team sticks in high school. Yeah. So that was, and then just kind of, 2012 was when I started Redbeard, and I was like, oh, there's a lot of people that like to string sticks. It's not just like the box stores, and got to share it, which was probably the best thing ever. Now there's hundreds, if not, thousands of stringers now, which is amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. The 10 diamonds making a resurgence, huh?
Yes.
That's yeah. I saw you string one. I mean, Mesh Dynasty just came out with the 10 diamond, and for those, there it is back there. I mean, for those that don't know, like 10 diamond in like 2003 or 4 or 5, like was out. I mean, there was 10 diamond. I was looking at a picture of Tillman Johnson today. He's got 10 diamond in there, and it's back. It's back. So you do like the 10 diamond mesh?
I do. And I like it. If anybody's just looking for something just to kill the ball in your stick, looking for no rebound, just absolutely die, go for it, because that's exactly what it's going to do. If you're looking to make, a 70, 60 yard outlet, probably isn't for you. I mean, there is a lot of drag. There's a lot less, the ball is going to just sag more into that pocket and give you like that hook or that whip. Yeah. So that's the pros and cons of it. But I mean, it's really cool to see it back and being made with really high quality materials. I
Yeah.
mean, it's not just like a hard nylon that's just going to keep bagging and bagging and bagging. It's a high quality stuff, which is great to see. And it's insanely light.
That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah. I kind of
Mhm.
think of it as like like a fishing net. If you can kind of think of it like if the ball hits the fishing net, it's just like, it's going to rattle around in there and really dampen and not rebound. But if you try and like throw with that thing, and that's a exaggerated example, but it's, that it's more like a fishing net than, the 17 diamond or the 20 diamond that's going to give you that solid grip on the
Yeah,
ball.
for sure.
But you mentioned you love throwing those outlets. So what do you go with for your gamer?
Right now, I mean, this was my world stick when I played for Team Slovakia, and that's the discipline or the disciple from the Mesh Dynasty. It's the rhombus and the oh my god, the traditional diamond. So it's the combination of the two, and it was just butter. Like there's little to no pocket, so it's super shallow. The channel is next to nothing. It just needs enough just to get the ball up and out. But when you have your hands kind of tied up with your gear on, you really can't get, a full over the head throw. So you're really kind of just utilizing the length of the stick. I grew up with a 40-inch shaft too. I never used the 30. And when I saw 30s coming in, I tried. I was like, I don't like this. Went back to a 40. So this is actually 46 inches long. So I can actually get up and out and just whip those things down the floor. So it's just something that's very, very smooth. I can feel the ball go through, little click, and that's really it. But smoother the better. Full 10-2 kind of outlet, very traditional, old school, I guess you would call now, kind of a play or throw.
Yeah, that's awesome. Sticking with gear, what's your favorite head to string up?
One head that I mean, there's kind of like two now, but one head that you can never go wrong and you can never mess up is probably a Nemesis. Just the face shape just allows for just like a perfect channel every time if that's what you're looking for. But I've strung so many of them, and I could probably do it in my sleep right now. Is probably an Eclipse or even an Eclipse 2, because I mean, everything that they did from the original Eclipse, and they literally did everything into the Eclipse 2. So you could literally sit there with your eyes closed and string the thing and pretty much come out with a beautiful pocket every time, which is what you want. So it's definitely a luxury that these companies are taking into consideration, the stringers, and being able to give us something that'll produce something every, beautiful every time, or something that'll go to a goalie and be able to succeed with.
Yeah. Well, it only took 20 years for SDX Eclipse to upgrade and come out with the Eclipse 2. So I guess we'll get the Eclipse 3 sometime in 2040 or something like that.
I mean, if it lasted for 20 years, I guess if it isn't broken, don't fix it, So I think that was
Yeah.
their mentality on it. So, I mean, but
Yeah.
it's
I heard some
them.
rumors about some new heads coming out. So, well, I don't know if it's a rumor at this point. East Coast Dies is coming out with a head. Have you seen that?
I haven't, I saw some sneak peeks, and I got some sort of questionnaire almost a year ago about
Yeah.
like what you like and whatnot. I saw that go around, and that got sent to me. But other than that, I haven't seen anything else, and I'm excited to see what they can come up with, because I think they've had a pretty successful headline so far.
Totally. Yeah. And I mean, they're very well connected in the lacrosse world as well. So, just kind of tapping that. Yeah, I haven't, obviously I don't have one, but I've seen pictures of it, and yeah, I'm excited for that too. And then I think there's going to be a Nemesis 4 coming out too. So
Already?
yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, that'll be fun. That'll be
Yeah.
fun. And W3 is definitely taken off within the last year too, especially in the box game.
Yeah.
You guys are gonna run with that.
Why do you think it's taken off in the box game?
Face shape. So a
What are
lot
you
of
looking
guys are,
for in like what makes a good face shape in the box head?
so I mean, I think Uline, or I'm sorry, Uline. The Under Armour headline was kind of like a mesh between, we need a head for the NLL for the goalies there, and we need a field head for all the teams. That's what I saw when I looked at it. Just flat scoops, you can sit on the floor without having to like really lean on it, and it doesn't get the spin if you catch a ball in the corner. Just stiffness, like lateral stiffness. So if I put it to the side, that's as far as it's going to go. And this head is 3-4 years old already. So, I mean, that's pretty much, and not too much of an offset. So like, well, I shouldn't really say that, because the Mark II-G is pretty much taking box by storm. And I mean, Frank Chiliano and a couple other pro guys in the NLL are actually using the Mark II-G too, and it's got a forward offset, like the original eraser. So it's actually got a forward offset on it, which gives you a totally different feel, and you don't have like that laid back like the Eclipse. And so it's really stiffness, scoop, and durability, because I mean, I'll lean on this thing and fold it in half underneath my legs if there's a low shot, because just want to seal everything.
Yeah, awesome.
That's pretty much the three.
Yeah, I think the Nemesis 3 is a league in women's. I mean, they're losing half their market right there.
Wow.
You got to have it in both. So I think that might be one of the reasons they're getting the Nemi 4 out there, but we'll see. I don't know. It's all hearsay. Okay. And then you posted one head the other day that like I hadn't seen in like years. The which one is it? The Harrow?
Barrage? Oh, the Harrow Barrage. Yeah.
Yeah. Talk to me about that head.
So, ironically enough, the Harrow Barrage I just came across online, and I was like, man, I haven't seen one of these in years. Just picked it up, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try stringing it up, and it's been sitting around for a bit. And the 10D came out, so I'm gonna try one of the 10D pieces, and it just kind of fits really nice. Not for nothing. I mean, it looks almost exactly like a Nemi.
It does.
But it's like half the weight, but it's a little bit of it's a little flexy up the top. It's a little thin. Yeah. But other than that, it's strung up perfect. I think it has more sidewall holes, the original Nemesis, to be totally honest. But Harrow had some interesting thoughts on equipment when they were in the game, especially their complete men's and women's sticks and the goalie stick. You ever seen those? No, you've never seen those? You gotta. I have one. It's unfortunately my parents' place right now. I've been meaning to string it up, so I'll get that strung and I'll send you a picture of it. But it was a complete composite shaft and head
all together,
just a one piece.
Wow.
And as you could probably imagine, what the biggest problem was is that it needs to absorb impact, and the things would just explode.
Yeah,
they would explode, and they'd be useless. So it's either you cut off the shaft and put on another head, or you can't do anything with it. So I think they came and went pretty quick, and they came in a full 40-inch too. So it's like you got this big old stick coming in, and it's just one piece. Yeah,
well, you break the head, and then the whole thing's done, right? Yeah. That's so interesting. And do you I see like you string all kinds of heads. Like a lot of people, when they're posting things these days, it's pretty much just Eclipses, like all the state of the line, all like the brand new ones. But I see you stringing up OG Eclipses, Shields. I mean, you go for it all, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I remember going online and seeing just, or going to garage sales and seeing a lot of heads just kind of being discarded or being sold for $1, or like, hey man, I'm getting rid of a goalie head. Do you want it? And buddies from like beer leagues would end up giving them to me because, I knew goalies that needed them or whatever else. And it kind of turned into like, I want to, build a resurgence of these things and get them to go in goalies' hands that don't have the, $250 to $300 to buy a brand new head to get into the game. It's like, if I can find one of these, clean it up, make sure everything is as good as it can go with the head, and give them a new pocket and make it affordable for them, and then sell it. As long as I'm covering my bases and it's all covering, the materials, I'm totally fine with it. And at least it gets into someone's hands that can at least use it, even if it's for, 2 months, for a spring season, for a coach that, doesn't have a goalie and they just need something good enough to give to their kids and go, okay, you have a legitimate stick. It's not a factory strung racket where all they're doing is just, playing tennis in the goal. And they're like, coach, I don't want to do this anymore. This isn't fun. I'm not making saves. So if that ball just sticks in the stick and the kid goes, man, I can do this, that's one more piece to growing, that position, because no one likes to get hit by balls, but if they make them feel like they're making that save and know that the ball's staying in their stick, then maybe they stick with it. So that was my hope behind it. And that's why I have all these sticks that come through and just, they're not broken, nothing wrong with them, a little dirty, string them up and then they're, going to a new home.
Love it,
So
man.
that was the huge mission of that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, a lot of times kids, when they have those factory strung sticks, or even worse, like just sticks that are super old, no pocket, and that not only can they not make saves, but they can't throw, and they just end up not having a good experience in goal. And so, like you said, if you can get them even a decent stick to start out with, like it changes their experience. And so growing the position one string job at a time.
100%.
And then you're selling those on your sideline swap, or is there another spot that you do?
So anything that I kind of refurbishing and do that, I throw it right onto sideline swap and it goes out the door. I mean, someone sends me an offer and okay, cool, it's yours. It's kind of like how it goes.
Cool. Is this Redbeard Lacrosse?
Yeah, Redbeard Lax, just sidelineswap.com/Redbeard Lax.
Nice. I'll link up to that. And then do you also do like custom orders if people wanted to get, a head strung up by you specifically is that something you do?
Yeah. I had a site for a little bit and then just kind of lost track of it and life things, of course. Right. So it kind of died down for a few years and then started getting back into it. And, people email me or DM me on Instagram. That's probably the easiest way is DM on Instagram, but email, redbeardlax@gmail and then just, hey, can you do this? Yeah, 100%. And then, kind of just go from there.
What do you need to know about them in order to string up a pocket that they're going to like? Or what kind of questions do you ask?
Oh, I created a Google sheet. I
think. Ooh, baby.
The week before. Yeah, I got a Google sheet on my Linktree now. So if somebody's interested, they can fill out the entire thing. So I ask them their shooter setup, because that kind of lets me know right away like what kind of pocket they use. So if they're like, oh, I go with one shooter, okay, they might just have a super low bag and then they want just a little bit, just a release point. Or like if I have 3 straights, okay, they want something that's just super buttery and they want that ball just to release and not have any click off the plastic. I'll ask them like pocket depth. If you want, again, kind of pertaining to the style of stick or how the ball is going to be released. Do you want more, do you want to give up more rebounds, or do you want to, wait more rebound control and shorter outlet distance? Or do you want happy medium, or do you want to be able to whip that thing 70 yards on the dot and hit that guy on the run or that girl on the run, every single time, but just have softer hands and know that you got to just kind of, go with that shot a little bit more. So that's the biggest thing. And nowadays, and the luxury is so many companies making mesh. It's like, okay, what do you use right now? And what do I have on hand, or do I need to buy that piece straight for you and get that strung up in your stick? Because if there's something that you like and you're with and you don't want to change, I'm all for it and I'll make that happen. Goalies are creatures of habit, that. And if there's something that they don't want changed, then that's it. And I will duplicate anybody's stick down to how they tie off the knots. And I've done it. And players are like, this is amazing. This feels exactly like the last one. And that's the biggest compliment. That's the biggest compliment right there. As long as they're succeeding and they're like, this is thrown exactly how it was before, that's even better than anything in the world.
Love it. All right. I'm gonna go through that Google Doc, see what's in there.
Go for it.
Yeah, you mentioned there's a lot of companies putting out great mesh these days. If you had to make like a top 3, do you have like a top 3 in terms of what you like to use?
Right now, personally, Stringer Shack G3. I love the stuff that Mesh Dynasty's coming out with, because it's just not one option for goalies. You got all different options, so that the discipline or disciple, the 2 different diamond designs is amazing, just to give you that versatility, because you feel the difference with it. You can bag this thing out and still have a buttery outlet. And one we probably haven't heard from in a really long time is fiber, is from throwing lacrosse. So that piece of mesh is insanely light, super, super, durable. I had a piece in a stick for 4 years, and it was stretch as a stretch can go. And the thing had not a single pull in it, had nothing. So it was really, 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 really nice to have that. I mean, and a company that definitely changed the game and really kind of, I think, started the conversation of even, how the Mesh Dynasty came in with all its different models is ECD Hero.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, ECD Hero changed the entire diamond shape. So, I mean, that was the first time I saw that, and it frustrated the living hell out of me trying to figure out how to string it, because it was nothing like anything that's been out before.
Yeah.
But, it's still a great piece of mesh. But the top three, I think, would be the hybrid, the two different diamond shapes, the stringer shack, and the fiber.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I get a lot of basic questions from youth that are just like starting out, or maybe they come from parents who are like, I got to get my kid a stick. And so, I like to have these conversations and answer these questions, because a lot of times I've been in the game a bunch of years, you've been in the game a bunch of years, and you don't think about like, well, why do we even have shooters in our stick, right? Why do some goalies have V's versus, straight across? I'd love to hear your take on those two questions, if you could.
Well, actually, just looking over your shoulder at the big nasty to your right, and having the V in the straight, and then having your CL18 on your left, and just seeing the two different mesh pieces. You have the straights in the smaller diamonds, so you're going to have a smoother feel. It's going to probably be a smoother release, and I know probably for a fact that you'll be able to still have a nice smooth release on this, but it's going to be a definitive release point with the two shooters stacked on top of each other. So that thing's not going to click on the plastic, but you're going to have a nice definitive release. And you can do, and the lower you go, that's when that ball's going to start to catch, and you can either really whip it, or you can kind of loop it over the top, or so like looking at this, I have my shooters almost to the top of the stick. I want that ball to release to here, but the ball only sits mid in the plastic, so I only got 8 inches for that ball to travel. If it's lower, I want that shooter to be a little bit lower, so that the ball doesn't have to travel all this way, and you're not releasing here. The ball's releasing here. So depending on how deep your pocket is to how much, or the style of mesh that you have in there, will kind of determine like what kind of shooter setup you want to put in. Like if you have a piece that you want a wider channel, you might want to throw a V in it, because that V will kind of channel the ball up. If you want something with a super tight channel, you might not need a V. You might just want to go with a straight, just a single. So and it comes down to preference. I mean, a V is huge on rebounds. So if you're going for like an off stick side high, and that ball hits that V, hits like that upper corner in between the shooter, the straight and the V, that ball might have a tendency to go down and then get caught on, or hits the plastic and then hits the V of the shooter, and be able to kind of direct it back into the bottom of the pocket. And then it comes out to preference, and I think a little bit of style comes into that too. Everybody wants to kind of be original and show off what they like, and
that was such a great explanation. Yeah. So like as you're throwing, your outlets, I mean, the ball, essentially has to travel all the way up, and these shooters tighten the mesh right here, make it a lot stiff, and help control that release point. And you see guys like Brian Phipps in the PLL plays with a bag. I mean, this one is probably this is probably about 2.5 balls deep. He's got to be like 3 or 4 balls deep. And so like, in order to outlet, he needs to bring it all the way up here and like outlet it, like, release it kind of like right there. And that is a very hard throw, for youth. So I mean, just like there's pros and cons and balances, and it's good to understand all this stuff. So, awesome. Well, I love it. And then there was another question. So if a kid's just starting out, 9-year-old kids just jumping into goal, what kind of setup would you recommend based on that info? Because they probably don't know like what they don't know, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Typically, I mean, my standard would be like 2 V's and a nylon, just very, very simple. And it also depends on the head. Like, I actually have a head to string for my girlfriend's student. Shout out to Lauren, and she's got a goal master. So I want to, and it's a factory strung. So I want to give her something so she sticks with the position. She's actually thinking about moving to defense. So I'm trying to like get her to stay in the cage, but I'm probably just going to go with 2 straights. I want something that's going to be super user friendly. I want to use something that's super low maintenance. So if anything comes untied, all you got to do is just tie the knots back up, and that's it. And that you'll be able to just shove in a bag, pull out, punch the pocket out, and be on your way. That's what I would be looking at. Anything else like that, I would probably 2 straights and a U, or, I mean, I think a lot of these kids look at pros nowadays because YouTube is so available, the PLL is so available, and they're able to see pros, and they're able to see these guys and girls play, and they're looking at, their shooter setups, and they want, I want the Brian Phipps setup, or I want, the Tillman setup, or I want, the Ward setup, or whatever it may be. They want to, they want to idolize those players, or the Megan Taylor setup, whoever. It is what it is. They just want to idolize. So if they want that, I'll give it to them. I'll make sure that the pocket is user friendly enough for them to be able to, again, shove it in their bag, pull it out, punch the pocket, and again, cage and play and be confident with it. That's the mission. That's the goal with every stick.
Love it.
So,
yeah. The other thing that PLL did is, not only is the slow-mo footage, like not only do you have a lot of footage, but you have like just very different footage. And like, there's this one Kincannon save that like got me sold on V's and U's, because like, I don't know if you've seen this save, but he like jumps up and like makes the save, and the ball starts like traveling up the pocket, like kind of to the side. And you can see the U just like grip it. It like kind of grabs the ball and just, instead of like shooting out, just kind of pops up and he snags it. And I'm like, all right, now I like that save really taught me one of the benefits of the V's and the U's. And I love it.
Have you ever seen way back when Billy Bitter actually had a U in the bottom of his throat? And it was just before the whole stringing boom. And he had a U that was actually in the bottom of the stick where the ball would sit. So
like right down here?
Yeah, it would be. So it would be in his player stick, and it would actually just grip the ball. And it would just sit around it, so that when he's cradling vertically, that ball just sat inside of that.
Got it.
And he was able to just control it. And I was like, man, that's so genius. But that's exactly what I thought when you're talking about the slow-mo and talking about like, the ball redirecting to the bottom of the pocket with that U. So, I mean, it's wild. I mean, their media team and everything else they're putting, the production of the PLL is what's grown, I think, the field game right now, for sure.
Yeah.
Undoubtedly.
Yeah, I love it. And under the camera, or under the hood, talking with the players, like while they're playing.
Awesome. That's wild. That's great.
It's cool. Well, and you got Blaze. I mean, the MVP of the league as a goalie. So, representing.
100%.
I love it. And he plays forward in the NLL, which is just crazy.
I got a quick little funny story about Blaze too.
Let's hear it.
Okay, so like the way they I play at the Wings Training Center for our men's league, and this is going a few years back. Must have been the first year or second year the Wings came back, and was when Chris Cloutier was drafted by the Wings. And they were in Philly for whatever, and we had a men's league game, and they were out there. Chris and Blaze were out there, shooting around with the kids doing a clinic. And I'm getting dressed, and Blaze turns around and goes, "Any goalie want to get in so we can actually shoot?" And I was like, "Yes." Threw my gear on, jumped into the rink, almost ate it because my leg pads got caught behind myself. I mean, I'm only 5'8.5", 5'9" with sneakers on, and just an absolute thumb, but almost ate it, got in cage, and we're shooting, and I'm stopping every shot on Blaze. I'm feeling good. Like he's really he's letting him go. And then he just winds up a little off speed, and he catches me stepping, and I just shrugged, and it went past me. He goes, "Gotcha," and he just bolts. He just ran off the floor, and he's like, just the funny, just the little bit of competition that you could feel from him, and taking shots from those guys, and then knowing that he didn't want to get off the floor until he scored on me was a lot of fun. It was just very, very loose, very friendly, and I've heard a lot of good things about him, just, you know, in the locker room, outside the locker room. But that little bit of competition and getting shot on those guys was really cool, and seeing that and knowing that, you know, he could figure me out as a goalie, you know.
Right. That's awesome. That's an awesome story. And the guy knows how to leave as a champion, you know, leave on a high note.
Yep. No doubt. One and done. Oh, I got you. I'm out.
Yeah. Reminds me of George from Seinfeld. I don't know if you've seen this episode where like he tells a joke and like he's like leaving at a high point in the meeting. I don't know. Do you watch Seinfeld at all?
I probably the most un-American thing ever is that I've never watched an episode.
Okay, all right, no worries. But he has this like he has this theory where he wants to like leave at a high point, and he tells a joke, and it's like in a meeting, he's like, "Well, that's it, I'm out," and then just leaves. Anyway, all right, man. Any other good stories like that? That was great.
Well, in Langley when I was at Worlds in 2019. Just being there and you know, I listening to you talking a lot about the mental game and just keeping yourself in the game and keep yourself focused. You know, we had 15-minute breaks in between each, you know, at the half. And I was like, this is just way too long. Like, I'm getting cold. Yeah. I didn't want to sit there. And thankfully our one of our coaches, Dave Marisi, he West Coast goaltender, played in the NLL. And he's like, come on, let's go on the floor. And I was just in a weird mood. And he goes, you know, what's bugging you? So I was like, I'm out of it. He goes, he's like, all right, we're going to go take shots. It's like, okay. Walked out onto the floor and just taking shots. And he goes, look at this place. Just look at this place. It's like, yeah, I see. He goes, when's the next time though you'll be able to stand here and just take shots and just relax, have fun, have a good time. Stop getting inside your head. We're just going to take shots. And that's what we did for like the next 8 minutes until the next half. And then we went in and, you know, just a lot more relaxed, a lot cooler. Cause you know, like you're your own worst enemy. You're secluded in this circle alone, and everyone's relying on you to do your job. And, you know, you get in your head for even one shot, and then your doubt and your confidence can just go right out the window and absolutely deflate. So it was really cool, and he was a huge help, and just kind of like having that and knowing that with a coach on the team and seeing that was like, hey, we're gonna get out of here was really nice. And yeah, that's really kind of the only other.
No, that's story. Great. That's such a great lesson too. Is I think a lot of goalies, like when they have those pregame nerves or, you know, they're not playing well, look around, like take it all in. Mm-hmm. You know, like enjoy the grass, smell of the grass. You know, you're out there playing lacrosse with your friends, because it's going to be gone very soon. And I would give quite a bit to go back and have one more of those high pressure Friday night under the lights type of games. I miss it so much. So while you're in it, like, you know, be in it. And that's a huge point. I love that. Mm-hmm. I'd love to hear more about the World Games. So, you know, how did that come to be? And you played for Team Slovakia. Yeah. Yeah, I'd love to hear more about that.
So I went with them to Euros, the European Championships in Turku, Finland in 2017, which qualified me as a non-passport holder for Worlds, and was able to go.
Like your family's Slovakian?
Yeah, I have a lineage that was able to qualify me for that, and was able to then qualify for Worlds, because you're only allowed X number of non-passport holders.
Got it.
Because they want to keep it as you know, national as possible.
You should. Yeah.
And that's the only way it's going to grow anyway. So if you have just all Canadian, all American, you know, it's not really that fun. You don't get to meet everybody. So, you know, everybody can do that. Right. And being able to get there and then qualify and go with those guys was an absolute honor and an experience that I will never forget for, you know, my entire life. But being able to not only play against some of, you know, the most talented players from all over the world, Costa Rica, the Czech Republic, excuse me, the Scots, Scotland, Germany, you know, they're all nationals. They're national players, and they're coming to, you know, bringing their best players and competing. And that was, I mean, the camaraderie and seeing guys walk around from rink to rink or in between locker rooms, because we're right next to each other. You know, you can only be so far away. Right. And we'll hang out and watch the next game. It's like, hey, what's going on, man? You know, we just beat the crap out of each other, but do you want to like go grab a bite or something, or stay and watch the next game? Or are you going to come and watch the Canada Uruguay game? Or are you going to come and watch the US Israel game? And we'll end up meeting up with other teams and watching games and just kind of talking lacrosse. And that was absolutely amazing. And living in an Airbnb with 22 other guys was an experience within itself as well. So it was, you know, college all over again, being able to, you know, just kind of have your friends right next to you, you know, knocking on the door. Hey man, you want to go get food or go for a walk, whatever else. So it was a cool 10 days. Yeah,
I bet. That sounds awesome. Well, cool. Congrats on that experience and representing the team. And that's great. You can do it again, or you kind of past that point of your career?
Oh, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I just turned 30, so you know, Euros is coming up, I think, next summer, and you know, we'll see how it's going. I'm having a lot of fun just playing as much as I can, and playing with like the club team that I play with, the Philadelphia Athletics, in just tournaments and just consistent leagues around the Philadelphia, South Jersey area, and awesome. just trying to have fun. That's it right now. Put a lot of pressure on myself for a little bit, and it became feeling like a job. And I was like, I'm not even getting paid for this right now, dude. What are you stressing out about? Like, go out and have fun with your friends. Like, just relax. And let's just kind of get back to it. So it's good. It's good again. It's good again.
Yeah. For you, when you think about training for the position, is it just playing right now, getting reps, or are there like other kind of drills or exercises that you're doing to up your game?
So one thing I love to do, and that has been the biggest component to my success that I would have to see, is watching myself. Is, you know, I have a YouTube channel, but I pick the highlights and I do everything else, but I'm sitting there for 2-3 hours just rewinding, rewinding, and just watching myself, watching my positioning, watching my step, see how the release was on the shooter. Where did he shoot? If it was a screen, how do I step or how do I see around that screen? And that's even, you know, in the field game, I still watch like my highlight reels from when I was in high school. Like, you know, oh, you know, this is cool. Like the recruiting highlight reels, you know, that was on VHS and whatnot. So, you know, just seeing how I played and how I progressed. And there's nothing better than that. And one drill that I still do from time to time that my goalie coach when I was in high school, Dean Whitty, recommended and highly, you know, pushed on us, was stand in front of a mirror in your position and make the step. Put your hand across, see where your stick is. Is your stick past your face? Are you getting your head behind the stick? Are you, you know, how are your hands positioned? You know, are you totally crossed up? Are you framing right? Like, and just doing every position and freezing. So take the first step, freeze, bring your trail foot. You know, off stick highs, take the step, freeze, bring the trail foot. So those kind of things was huge. And then, you know, the footage is so invaluable. Like it's great. Invaluable. Like if someone told me, or if I knew now what I knew then, to just put a camera on me, like, hey mom, can you please just set up your cell phone and just film me in goal. Just have it wide enough so I can see the shooter and just let it sit and let it run. And then I can go back and look at it again. I think, you know, be a totally different goalie. Yeah. You know, just being able to watch yourself over and over again and see your mistakes, learn from your mistakes. Saves are cool, but like, I want to see how I got scored on.
Yeah.
And then totally
agree with that. Just one comment on that too. You could do that in practice too. And it's actually a lot, you know, better in practice, because you can get the camera like right on the field and get like a really cool angle. And you can see, like, I remember I was doing a seminar with one of the goalies that I sponsored, and he was kind of like breaking down this footage, and it was like right on the thing, and he was breaking down like some of the shots that went in, right?
Mhm.
And he's just like, you see, like, here's exactly what I did wrong. And you could see it so clear. And it was such, like, to me, a great learning experience. And so I think analyzing film like that is incredibly valuable, like you said.
Mhm.
Yeah. And the
100%.
other thing too is like, if you can make yourself a little hype tape of, like, put all your best saves
Yeah.
on, on a little YouTube, on a 2 to 3 minute YouTube video. One, if you have dreams of playing college lacrosse, that's going to be, your resume. But two, if you get in a slump, go watch that video, right? I mean, you watch that video, you get pumped up. You're like, yeah, like, I am a good goalie, right? So
100%.
do it.
100%. Yeah.
All right, we'll have to look for the Travis YouTube clips on on YouTube there.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Cool. What else we talk about? I feel like we covered the spectrum. Who are your favorite NLL goalies right now?
The one goal, actually, he unfortunately had to be put on the holdout list, was Evan Kirk. Evan Kirk, I watched his style a lot because he was a shorter guy, 5'8", 5'9". I think he's listed at 5'10". He might be a little, but he plays a very square, feet shoulder width apart, kind of style. Very purposeful. Every step was for a purpose. It wasn't a big flare. It wasn't, and that's how I was taught, and that kind of, like, reflected my style the most. Another goalie, I mean, him, Dylan Ward.
Yeah.
Especially transferring and knowing that he was a field goalie, and then watching him play box, I wanted to see how he took it to the game, and he plays exactly the same as he does indoors as he does outdoors, which is insane.
I had him on the podcast. He said that exact thing. He's like,
yeah.
To me, it's the exact same. It's the only thing that's different for me is how I set up with my hands in my stance. It's crazy.
Yeah. So those are the two big guys. I mean, Nick Rose is huge because his positioning, his angles, and how he knows exactly where that ball is going to go is unmatched. He very small steps, but he gets that position, and once that shot's wound up, he steps to the top of the arc, and he knows exactly where that ball's going, which is a lot of fun and interesting to see. So, one guy that's super explosive and fun is Zach Higgins. He's a little more explosive, a little more energetic. He's fun. But Evan Kirk is, I think, the main guy that I mimic my style off of. I mean, and then you got to go with the 7-time goaltender of the year, which is Matt Vince. I mean, the guy's just an absolute machine, and he's still doing it, and he's absolutely just murdering the game. And he's got a style that's unlike anyone else's. Hand super high up on the stick. Uses every part of his body to cover the actual flat part of the goal, so there's no hand overlapping a thigh or a leg pad when in his stance. So it's hand up at the right hip, stick hand up the right hip, off stick hand at the left hip, and he's just an absolute wall across that. But then he's so strong, explosive, he'll get from pipe to pipe as fast as the guys are running full speed to dive. So his explosiveness going laterally is insane that he's getting there with the guys and keeping track with the stick in front of his face. And that's something that I think I struggled with at first, was reading kind of like head movements from field to box. Is a lot of box players, like you hear the saying, the stick has eyes, and shooting around those screens. And these guys know exactly where they want to put it around bodies. So I'll be looking at their head, or I'll see like a little head movement that I would recognize as, oh, he's going to shoot it high. But, as soon as I look at that, or I notice, that body language looking at the stick, that all of a sudden that ball's coming low and I'm getting beat clean. So just, again, sitting on the shot, just focusing on the ball and focusing on the ball being released from the stick and then reacting to it was huge in just breaking it down, and just like, the ball is the only thing that can beat me. That's it. Even if the guy's charging at you and about to dive across the crease, the ball is the only thing that can beat me, that can change the outcome of this game. And just kind of playing against that. But Kirk, Vince, Ward, Higgins, Bouquet, another shorter, bigger dude. He's fun to watch. Plays for Vancouver Warriors right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it? What was I gonna say? Oh, where'd you learn how to play box? How do I learn how to play box? I have I don't think I have any like instructional content on my site on how to be a box goalie. Is there something out there? Do you have that on your YouTube channel?
I Googled upon Google search.
Yeah.
And YouTube has, Johnny Meridian had like a basics of box goaltending with Brandon Miller.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very basic about some shooting drills, but nothing super crazy. I think,
I know Dallas Eliuk's put out some stuff.
Yeah, he's got some some really cool content. I haven't seen any of it. I got to subscribe and I gotta just bite the bullet and do it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, why not?
Yeah.
But I've talked to Marty O'Neill a whole bunch. He played in the NLL for a long time, Victoria Shamrock legend. But but going from like that, that era to this era is definitely changed in just goal size, speed, and the game is the same, but it's just everything's I think a little bit faster and just a little bit different as far as ideology, especially guys coming from field to box.
Yeah.
But a lot of which, like I said before, was watching myself and then watching other goalies. So like when I'm telling you, I've watched Evan Kirk. I watched every single game of Evan Kirk and just see how he stepped. Where was the stick positioning? Is the stick, on the ground at a high, from an outside shot, which is like, 12 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Or is his stick on the ground, in tight? Does the stick need to be on the ground? Is it just lifted a little bit to guard the upper part of the 5-hole because you're using the smaller stick? Where's this arm at? So I'm watching and I'm mimicking. So that's how I learned and I taught myself. And then, again, Dave Marisi at Worlds gave me a few pointers and a few tips. Again, he's like, I don't want to change anything. You're here. It's nothing that I'm going to be able to do now that's going to, change the outcome of the game. But if you want to try it. And that's how he kind of approached. And that's how I like to coach and how I like to approach it as well. Same. So that was really nice.
Yeah.
But just watching games, and then just reps, just getting good shooters that know the indoor game and saying, hey, like, what do you see? What am I doing? How are you scoring on me right now? And I'd be able to do that. A good buddy, Alex Turner, long time Philadelphia wing and Colorado Mammoth, would just shoot for 2.5 hours, 3 hours sometimes, and just absolutely pummel me. And it was so much fun. But I mean, you just sweat through your gear and your gear goes from 45 pounds to 60 pounds, in a 2-hour sessions. But, it's fun, but it helps. Every shot helps for sure. You know that.
Yep. Yep. Definitely. How many people tagged you in that box goalie fight or sent you the fight? Because I gotta say, like, everyone that knows that I do work in lacrosse, like sent me that. I'm like, all right, I've seen this.
Yeah. I got tagged a whole bunch. I actually stringed for the goalie that got into the scuffle, Ethan Woods.
Do you?
Yeah, I actually stringed for him, and I was like, oh yeah, he got in. I'm going to see him play, and sure enough, not even a shot in, and he's trying to get some energy for the team.
Yeah,
but yeah, I got tagged a lot. A lot.
That's awesome. Travis, man, this has been tons of fun. Thanks for coming on the show and just chatting and kind of sharing some stories. I usually ask the question, if you had to leave the goalies out there with one final piece of advice, what would that be?
Just have fun. Just love the game. Your time will come. If you're not starting, your time will come. Just keep working hard. Find some good goalies around you to bounce ideas off of, and just keep going.
Love it, man. Well, it's Redbeard_Lax on Instagram. Is that where you hang out the most? Instagram?
Yeah.
Same.
Time, yeah.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, I'll link up to everything when this comes out. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me. This was a great time. Thank you.